Hello and welcome to Nodal Wars Skirmish. This is a game that I started putting together. I had helped with some of the Robotech Tactics things. I played Battletech for a long time. I've got some Cav miniatures and wanted something where I can use them all at the same time and not have to worry. So it's basically a 6mm game. It includes the ability to use units from every different system or genre that you want. You'll be able to have conversion rules to convert over infantry. You can use Epic, you can use whatever you want on it, so you can use all your stuff at the same time on the table. It's not meant for really huge scale battles, but I'm going to later add some changes to the rules for a large scale game, so you'll be able to play it with a larger field of armies and units on the table. So right now it's made for a decent sized battle that's going to just take a couple hours at most. Most of it is set up to do a decent sized battle in an hour and a half once you have everything set up. So basically use alternating activation. So you have a bunch of squads and squadrons, and each player takes turns activating them. When you roll initiative, the person who wins gets to choose if they want to go first or second. You can also use leadership and action points, which we'll talk about later on in other videos, to be able to try to steal some of these activations and get the jump on your enemy. So you can move your guys squad by squad. You move, you fire, you do everything. Each unit has a couple free actions that you can use to either move your unit even faster, or move and fire, or fire a couple times. So what is unique about it? There's a couple different things. One of the things that you have different target rating. So target rating is how hard it is to hit a unit. The faster the unit, the more maneuverable it is, the more quick as far as being able to jump around and move around it is, the harder it is it's going to be able to, the harder it is for you to hit it. To give you an idea, here's a stat card. You have your unit, you have your target rating, your armor ratings, which we'll talk about that in a little bit, how fast it moves. This is a big, slow unit. You have special abilities, you have how much damage it takes, you have ammo. For certain weapons have ammo and the amount that you can shoot. And so this is just a sample sheet so you guys can get an idea of what it includes. And these are all done on 3x5 cards, so you can have several of them in hand and be able to mark them off pretty easily, or print them off and do them however you wish. So another thing that is different is that you also have different dice. So most games, when you roll the hit, you roll one die, period. You use the die 6, D10, whatever it is. This, in Nodal Wars, you have die bands. So at point blank range, use a D12, and as your range increases, you're going to use smaller and smaller dice. So what does that mean? If you have a unit that has a target rating, as we looked at before, let's say you have a fast unit with a target rating of 7. So you need to get your gunnery plus whatever your roll is and whatever modifiers. So it's going to be fairly easy to hit at close range, and as you get further and further away, it's going to be harder and harder to hit. Also, if you have units that have a really high target number that are hard to hit, if they're out far, you might almost have no chance at all, or you might have pretty much zero chance of being able to hit the units. And we'll go ahead and we'll talk about that in a little bit too. So base range, your direct fire weapons have what we call a base range. So base range, like if you have a base range of 5, from 0 to 5 is in band 1, 6 to 10 is band 2, 11 to 15 is band 3, and then 16 to 20 is band 4, and so on. So the same thing with base range of 8. So base range of 8 can use a D10 all the way out to 16 inches, whereas a base range 5 would already be using a D8 at that range. It gives you an idea that if you have longer ranged weapons, you have advantages. You also have some weapons that will have special abilities, and we'll talk about those at a different video also, as far as anti-aircraft, targeting computers, being more accurate to give all your units a different flavor and a unique flavor and a unique feel as you play. So here's just a sample weapon stat. You have different weapons. You have the type of weapons, magnetic accelerators, missiles, rockets, their range. Now you notice that these have really high ranges. Well, missiles do not have range bands. They have a single range, and so with rockets. So whatever that range is, they use a D8 to hit the other target no matter what that range is. But the difference with missiles is that you have some weapons that have anti-missile, and they'll be able to shoot down rockets and missiles, or have a chance of shooting down rockets and missiles. And that's another thing that we'll leave for another video. But just to give you an idea of different abilities, so you have ones that impair. So what they do is they basically remove some of the actions that a unit hits if they hit it because of the blast. And you have heavy, that it makes it easier for them to penetrate the armor of a unit and do some damage. There's lots of different abilities. So here's an example. I just threw some pictures on there. So you have a unit over here, and it's going to shoot this one, and you take this and translate it down here, and you're in the third band. So he's got a gunnery of 2, and this unit's got a target rating of 7. So you need to get a 7 or more to hit. The base range, as you see, it puts you in the third band, which is a D8. So he needs 2 plus 5, so you need a 5 or more on a D8 to be able to hit. So he has a 50-50 chance to hit at that range. If the range was a little bit further, let's say he was in band 4, then obviously he'd only be able to use a D6, and he'd have to roll a 5 or a 6 on a D6 to be able to hit. Here's the same unit as if he's going to fire at another unit that's a little further away, but he's still within the same band, but he has +1 for light cover for his target rating. So he needs, instead of a 7, now he needs an 8 to hit, so he's got a 38% chance using the same die, because he'll need a 6, 7, or 8 on a D8. In this case, we're going to go ahead and in this case, you can see that the unit has shooting at something that's just outside of band 3. It's in band 4. And this unit normally has a target rating of 8. So he's going to need to get an 8, and he's only got to use a D6 because he's in band 4. So it's D12, D10, D8, D6. So he's got to get a 6. So he's only got a 1 in 6 chance of hitting a unit that's just a little bit further away. Plus, this unit is harder to hit because it's a faster, more maneuverable unit. So you can see that chance has decreased pretty significantly just because of the bound range and the target rating of the unit in question. So here's where the other unit, now he's moved up and he's going to fire back. So he's got a gunnery 2 also, and he's got to hit the other unit with a target rating of 7. And this just shows you that he needs a 5 or more to hit. So in reality, this is just an example, but this unit probably has a target rating of 6 or 5, and if it had a 6, then the chance would be significantly higher. And here's what I was showing you and talking about earlier about missiles. Missiles have a range that's a fixed range, so anything within 24 inches and within the arc, he'd be able to shoot and use a D8 as long as it's in range. It doesn't matter if he's close or far, because missiles have the same chance to lock on. So in this case, he needs a 5 or more with the D8 to be able to hit a unit like this with a target rating of 7. What else? What else is different? Well, you got armor ratings. So you got a high rating and a low rating for your armor. What does that mean? So the high rating is how hard it is for you to be able to damage the unit and be able to do full damage in the first place. The second rating is how much you need to be able to do damage at all. So heavier buildings, heavier structures will have higher and higher armor ratings. Heavier units, heavier mecha, tanks, whatever you have, they will also have higher armor ratings. So let's go ahead and give you an idea what that means. So in this is just, I called it a Falcon, but it's basically a transformable mecha. So it has a target rating of 7 in Battloid, 8 in Guardian, and 9 in Fighter. So as it's faster, more maneuverable, it's harder to hit. And you can see that fighter mode is really good because it's hard to hit it. He can get in closer. He can get in and be able to do some damage without getting hit that easily. Then you go and you look at the armor ratings. So he's got an armor rating of 5, which is his high rating, and 2. So the 5 means that on a 5 or more, on a D10 when he's hit, he'll take the full damage from the strike. The 2 means on a 2, 3, or 4, he'll only take half damage, and if the roll is a 1, he will take no damage whatsoever. So basically his armor is able to deflect or absorb the blow. So let's go ahead and look at another unit. So this unit also has a target rating of 7, so he's a fairly quick unit, but his armor rating is even less. So on a 4+, he'll take full damage, which is on a die 10, so he's got a 70% chance of taking full damage, and he's always going to take damage. So it doesn't matter if he takes, even if you roll 1, he's still going to be able to take at least half damage just because he doesn't have a value high enough that it's going to make any difference. On the other side of the coin, here's a slow unit, a big slow unit. It's got a target rating of 5, so it's going to be pretty easy to hit even at longer ranges. But if you do, it's got an armor rating of 7 and 4. So you have to roll 7, 8, 9, or 10 on a D10 to do full damage. On a 4 to 6, the unit's going to take half damage. And on a 1, 2, or 3, which is a 30% chance, the unit's not going to take any damage whatsoever. Keep in mind that the unit, when he's targeted, they can also use some of their actions to be able to boost their target rating or to boost their armor rating, because they'll try to deflect or move in such a way that the blast will not be able to penetrate their armor, or they'll take advantage of the slants on their armor, or they'll try to hide behind something or make them hunch down or move to make themselves harder to hit and improve their target rating. So they have the option to be able to use their action points to make themselves harder to hit. The disadvantage of that, we'll go into some action points and some of how that works later. But the disadvantage of that is that then they will not be able to move and attack. Their options are limited when it is their turn to activate. And if they have already activated, then they have markers on them that give them further negatives on the following turn. So that's just a quick kind of review of what it's about and what makes it unique and different. Hopefully you enjoyed this. We'll go ahead and do some more as time goes on the different aspects of the game to kind of give you an idea of how it is and what it was and how it works and everything compared to other games. And hopefully we'll go into some construction rules and some gameplay and things like that later on, and be able to show you something that you enjoy and that you'll want to be able to take part of and be able to take it to your own house and have fun with it. Thank you for watching, and enjoy.